Hello, this will be my how-to on how to make a light-up engine. So, what I have here is a Harvey that I took apart. The drive unit. Harvey, as you know, Harvey is not motorized on his own. He has to have this unit. I got an old Harvey unit. I can't find my old Harvey right now. But I did have one that I bought, so I got another Harvey, a newer Harvey, and this drive unit. I'm going to make this a light up Harvey, hopefully. Okay, so I don't know if this is going to work because his battery is real far away from where the light needs to be at. I don't know if I have enough wire, and then if I don't have enough wire, I don't know if I'm going to be I guess I'm going to have to, if I don't have enough, I'm going to have to make the wire longer by connecting another wire to the wire. I really don't want to do that because I like making these quick and easy as possible so that I can, get them done with. But anyway, one thing that you need that makes this modification very expensive is you need to get one of these. Now this is what I've been using on Edward, James, Henry, Gordon, Bill and Ben, and so all the engines that you see the little white cab on it, the white thing on it, that's what I've been using. But I had to buy. You have to buy a light up Thomas or a light up Percy. And then you have to take the unit off of there, and then you have to cut the little part off to make it so that you can glue it onto another engine. So it's very expensive. So that means if you're gonna do this, you're gonna have to buy whatever engine you need, and you gotta buy the right engine. Because, like for instance, I had to use the 2012 or 2013 James and Edward. And because if I used the older ones where the tender was in the back, it would have been a lot more harder to do. Now Emily was very hard to do. So because her tender was in the back and that's where it was. Gordon was the same way, but I was more successful with Gordon, or I could do it quicker, I'll say, with Gordon than I could with Emily. Now, okay, here we go. So the first thing I'm gonna do, it's just cosmetically. Okay, I got a light from a place that makes lights for doll houses, and they make these little lights. And I'll put the URL. I'll put that in the notes for this video. But anyway, first thing I do is I put this little light into this little part here. And usually it looks like this one's going to be a little difficult to put in, but usually it's a lot easier than this. I just need something like a screwdriver, which I got, to kind of just push this through this hole. And you kind of want the light sticking out. The reason you want the light sticking out a little bit is because I noticed that when it sticks out, it's a lot brighter than if you try to push it, like get it halfway stuck in there. Alright, now simply I'm going to take this like this and I'm going to glue it where it's supposed to be at. The reason I'm going to do that right away is because you got to get it set where you're going to go, and then you got to wire it. Of course, you want to test the light and make certain that it's working and all that before you, of course, glue it down or commit it. And just keep in mind that if you ever have to, if the light ever blows out itself, not just a battery change, that you're going to have to, take this apart. But it's not that hard to take apart. I mean, it's just glue. Like I use this kind of glue right here. It's called Stick and Seal Indoor Adhesive. And I just put this on. Not that much. That's a lot. Anyway, I put that on there, and then I put this on approximately where I'm going to put the thing at. Now, keep in mind, you can always clean this up, so it's not that big of a deal to be all like super neat and worry about spilling stuff over it or whatever. Because it's just, like I said, it's just glue or plastic cement or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Anyway, you want to make sure your light is kind of where you want it to be, because this is where your light is going to kind of like be. So just make certain that you see where the wires are coming and everything. So you're going to stick that part on, and so I'm going to put this here. Now I'm going to line this up with this black part on the top part of his base, so that his light ends up like right there. So he's going to look like that when he's done. Now, that's if I'm successful. Okay, because see, the tricky part is, alright, I got to let this sit for a little while and catch its place. Because what I have to do is I got to run this wire underneath his base, out his back, and then I have to connect it to this unit, which is the, where you're going to get the light, the power from the light. So it's going to be kind of tricky. So I'm going to pause right here, and then I'm going to pick this back up. So I'm going to take these wires, and I'm going to run them back as far back through the middle and as easy. Now, keep in mind, these engines weren't designed with this in mind. So when you put the engine back together, as far as screwing it in, normally you would want to screw stuff tight and and all that. But in this case, I'm not going to screw it 100% tight. I'm going to be more like 99% tight. Reason being, because you want it to be sturdy, but you don't want any of the engine or any of that. I mean, when you put it back together, you don't want any of that to mess with those wiring and the wires to be pinched. And then one time I put one together and I had pinched the wire and I didn't know it. Put everything together and then the light wasn't working because I had pinched it. I had to take it all the way apart and do it all the way over. So you don't want that to happen. So let's make sure this is straight. Alright. So now I'm going to put Harvey back together. Okay. I hope you guys are Harvey fans, because I am. It's good to see him coming back in some of those episodes for the later season. So hats off to the new crew at Hit Entertainment for that. Alright. So now put him here, and I've got his wires coming out the back here. See that? Now hopefully this wire, like I said, is long enough to reach the back part of that battery, because it's got to reach all the way to the, one of the wires have to reach all the way to where the switch is, right here. Alright? So another thing you want to do is make certain that you don't have a wire caught where you're about to screw something in too, because a screw will easily cut that wire and mess up your whole little system. And if you look closely at these engines too, you may see, you might see a little bit of a green wire right there. Now if I wanted to get fancy, then what I would do is I'd take a little black marker and I would paint that black so you really couldn't tell that was a wire there. But I'm not going to get that about it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put in back his screws that go and hold him in. So I'm going to do this, and I'll do this part, put him back together, and then I'll be back. Okay, I did have to extend this wire here because it wasn't reaching, and it was at the very end of that wire. So I had to extend it. I didn't want to do that because now I got another connection to worry about that could come loose. But I think I got it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to attempt to put this thing back together. I connected one wire to the negative part and then this one to the switch, so that when you turn him on, he lights. The only thing about this is now you know that this has to stay as one unit. You can't take it apart. But that's not a big deal with Harvey, because Harvey doesn't, like he says, doesn't power on his own anyway. Right? Like we know. So you just got to be a little bit neat though, and kind of putting these back together. And like I said, you got to be careful, once again, not to pinch these wires, because if you pinch the wires, you're pretty much done. Alright, so before I put the final screw in, I'm going to test it one more time. Light's still coming on. Then I'm going to flip them over here, and I'm going to screw in the regular screw where you change the battery. And we have to test them out, okay? Or tell you what, I'm gonna put this video out after I test them out, so you'll see them on the track first before you see me break them down and do this whole tutorial. Okay, like I said, it's kind of tedious, expensive, and you know, it's one of those things you say, why do it? Well, some of these characters that they you know, they're never gonna release. Fisher-Price will never release in a light up version, so I'm not going to wait on them. And then the other ones, they're going to probably roll them out, you know, 2 or 3 at the most at a time. Like they came out with Thomas and Percy. So next year they might do, you know, whoever they're going to do. And then you're going to wait again, then you're going to wait again. Instead of doing all that, I just, like I said, I just checked out my buddy UC Weapon and figured out, I said, hey, I can do this myself. So you can do it yourself too. So good luck. And if you got any questions, let me know. Thanks.